Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another AI Reacts deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. So today we're going deep into the world of fanacycling.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, you sent over some really interesting stuff, actually. Fanacycling's website, their YouTube channel even,
Oh, yeah. That video they did on the '98 Tour de France doping scandal?
the Festina Affair, right?
Yeah, that one. Crazy story.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And kind of perfect for this episode, don't you think?
Yeah.
We can look at how fanacycling works, A&D, well, the realities of pro cycling, like all the
Yeah.
stuff that happens behind the scenes.
Exactly. Like seeing how a scandal like that, actually impacts the sport.
Totally. Okay, so first things first. Let's break down fanacycling itself.
A good plan.
So their website, it says there are two main ways to play. Championship mode.
Against other fans worldwide, right?
Yeah. Global competition. Then there's private leagues.
More for like playing with your friends.
Exactly. You can even customize the rules and scoring. So like imagine you and your buddies arguing over who gets more points for King of the Mountains.
Uh-huh.
Right. Intense. And get this.
Wow.
They've got all the UCI World Tour races, plus events like the Olympics and the Europeans.
Wow. So you're not just managing a team for one race. You're in it for the whole season.
The whole thing. It's like you're a real team manager.
It's fascinating how fanacycling kind of mirrors how real cycling works. You got to think about rider values, manage budgets, plan for different races.
Right. And speaking of real-world cycling, let's talk Festina Affair.
Okay, yeah.
This video you sent, it really shows how chaotic it all was. A team car stopped at the border full of doping products.
It was a huge moment for cycling. I mean, it exposed systematic doping in a top team.
It was insane. Like, you see the confessions, the arrests, even whole teams withdrawing from the race.
And then there's Richard Viren, one of the top contenders, in tears. Like, he felt totally betrayed.
It's powerful, seeing how these big scandals, they impact individual riders, too.
Definitely. Viren's story shows that, athletes are often caught in the middle of these things.
Totally. So, yeah, the video, it mentions how this scandal forced cycling to change how it deals with doping.
It did. But the question is, has the sport truly changed since then?
That's a big one.
It is. It's complicated.
Yeah, I bet.
There have been improvements, like with testing, anti-doping efforts. But cycling, like a lot of other sports, it's still struggling with this.
Makes you think, right?
Yeah.
About the line between, pushing limits and, well, straight up cheating.
Exactly.
And where does that leave the sport? And the fans.
Really good questions. Ones we'll have to keep asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really tough one. It makes you think about, like, the whole history of the sport,
Totally. But, hey, let's shift gears back to fan cycling for a minute.
Okay, sure.
The thing I find really cool is how the game makes you follow the entire pro cycling season, not just like the Tour de France.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking spring classics, grand tours, everything. And you mentioned the UCI World Tour earlier.
I did?
What exactly is that for those who, might not know?
Oh, good point. So the UCI World Tour, it's like the top level of pro road cycling. The best teams, the best riders, all competing for points, titles. It's a big deal.
In fanacycling, it covers all these races, right?
Every single one.
So as a player, you're not just picking a team for the Tour de France. It's like a whole year-long thing.
Exactly. You have to think about all these different races. Different riders are good at different things. Some are amazing at one-day classics like Paris-Roubaix with all those cobblestones. Others, they shine in the mountains, like at the Tour.
So to be good at fanacycling, you got to know your cycling.
Oh, yeah. You have to research, look at stats, think about past performances, even things like which teams work well together and which races are coming up next.
Speaking of research, new fanacycling season, it starts in January, and I think they've already put out the rider valuations.
They have. It's all happening.
Where can people find that info, like if they want to get started?
Best place is Fanacycling's website. And their social media, they're really active, always posting updates, news, all that. They even interact with the fans a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a great way to stay up to date on everything and connect with other people who play fanacycling.
Community vibes. I love it. Okay, so back to the game itself. You have this budget, right? Phantomillions, they call it.
Oh, right? It's fun.
And you use that to, like, buy riders for your team.
Exactly. And the best riders, well, they cost more, obviously.
So it's a balancing act, like in real life.
Totally. You can't just have all superstars. You need some veterans, some up-and-coming riders, all while staying within your budget. It's tricky.
And that's where the under 25 riders come in.
Exactly. You find these young talents before their price goes up.
Like scouting for hidden gems.
It really is. And it can make a big difference in your fanacycling success. It's not just about picking the big names everyone knows, it's about strategy. Building a team that can score points throughout the whole season across all these different races.
Which brings us to scoring. Tell me about that. It's not just about winning stages, is it?
Oh, no, no, no. It's way more complex than that. That's what makes it fun. You get points for stage wins, sure, but also top 10 finishes, leading a breakaway, even winning intermediate sprints.
Oh, wow. So
Huh.
even if your rider doesn't win, they can still earn points.
All the time. And that adds another layer of strategy, right? You have to consider riders who might be aggressive, go for those extra points, even if they're not going to win the whole thing.
It's like you have to think like a real cycling director.
Exactly. Considering all the different ways a rider can contribute to the team, it's not just individual stats, it's about the whole team performing well in all sorts of situations. And that's one of the things that makes fanacycling so different from other fantasy sports.
Oh, for sure. It's more than just picking players based on their numbers. And then, of course, there's the captain.
Oh yeah, the captain. So important.
Choosing the right one, that can make a huge difference in your score.
Right. Huge. Before each race, you pick one rider from your team as captain. And their points, they get doubled. It's risky, but it can pay off big time. Do you go with a safe bet? Or take a chance on someone who might have a breakout performance?
That's got to be stressful. Watching the race, hoping your captain does well.
Oh, it is, especially if you're in a close competition, like with your friends.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of competition, fanacycling, it seems to have a really strong community,
They do. It's awesome.
whether you're playing in the global championship or just with your buddies. There's this shared love of cycling. It's cool. Where do people connect, mostly? Online, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of it is on social media. Fanacycling's really good at that. Like I said, they're active online, so it's a good place to stay informed, connect with other fans.
Awesome. And then there's those private leagues with your friends. I bet those get pretty competitive.
Oh, yeah. Especially with all the customization options.
The website mentioned different ways to draft your teams, like offline auctions, and even live auctions where you're bidding against each other in real time.
It's wild, like having your own mini Tour de France draft. But instead of team managers, it's you and your friends fighting over the best riders.
I can imagine the trash talking.
Oh, there's tons of it. It's all part of the fun. And being able to customize the lead rules, that's great too. You can make it as simple or as complex as you want, depending on, how much everyone knows about cycling.
So whether you're a hardcore fan or just getting into it, there's a way to play.
Exactly. And it's a great way to learn more about the sport, discover new riders, follow the season. It just adds a whole new level of excitement.
Yeah, it sounds like they've really nailed it.
Yeah.
Made something that's fun, but also like you really got to use your brain.
For sure. It's not just random picks. You got to know your stuff.
Totally. But okay, before we wrap things up, I want to go back to that Festina affair
Mm-hmm.
and the whole issue of doping in cycling. We talked about it earlier, but it's like, it's always there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a shadow over the sport. It always has been. And I mean, even with all the efforts to clean things up, it's still a challenge.
Makes you wonder how fanacycling players think about it. Does it affect like who they pick for their teams?
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting thought. I guess for some people, the game is like an escape from all that.
Mhm.
They can focus on the strategy, the competition, and not have to deal with the ethical stuff.
But surely it must impact them somehow, like knowing about all these scandals.
Of course.
Mm.
I mean, you can't completely separate the game from reality. And I think that's good, actually. It means that, players are thinking about it. They're realizing that it's not just a game. It's about real people, real choices, real consequences.
Heavy stuff. It's a good reminder that even in a fantasy world, real actions matter.
Absolutely. And that's something we all got to keep in mind, not just as fanacycling players, but as fans of cycling. We have to support the clean athletes, demand accountability, push for a culture of integrity in the sport.
And maybe, just maybe, fanacycling can be part of that, like with its focus on individual riders and its community. I think so, by highlighting those who do things the right way, by helping fans understand the sport better, by creating a space for real discussion about these issues.
So yeah, as you dive into the new fanacycling season, remember, you're not just playing a game. You're part of something bigger, a community that can actually Like, shape the sport, make good choices, support the riders you believe in, and let's all work together to make cycling something we can be proud of.
Absolutely. And hey, don't forget to check out Fanacycling's website, their social media, all the latest news, rider valuations, everything you need to dominate your league. It's all there. Good luck.
That's right. And for us, this is a wrap on another AI Reacts deep dive. Until next time, happy cycling. Whether you're on the road or, managing your fantasy team,